Dan, you started very quickly with your hand up there. Do you want to start us off, please?
And I'll take turnaround this morning. Morning, Mark. Hope you're well.
Morning, I think you wake up with your hand up, don't you? You're just that used to it.
That's a skill, yeah. Yeah, obviously, FA Cup has fantastic memories for United. It's hopefully kind of where you've started on the kind of trophy run, you personally as well. So,
yeah.
How much are you looking forward to this weekend, and how much do you want to kind of replicate what you've done in previous seasons?
I mean, it's incredible if you think about it, Dan. And look, it's a hard feat to manage. Is we've got to 3 finals in 3 years in the FA Cup, so there's a romantic kind of feeling about this cup, but we can't. I can't stress enough, we can't take it lightly. And like Burnley, yeah, there might be a couple of divisions below, but they're an aggressive team that wants to, they want to be in the WSL. I think their ownership have been very clear on that. So we have to take this game seriously. I want to see us build as well, Dan. There were parts of the Arsenal game, we were we took a draw out of it, but there were parts I want to see us improve. I want to see us improve with the ball. I think we can be more aggressive with the ball. Defensively, I thought we're excellent, so I want to keep that. But I want to get us back into rhythm, Dan, really. I want to use these games to help us get back into rhythm and really, hit it hard. So there'll be no foot off the gas this weekend. We have to give it absolutely everything. And I want to get back to another final and kind of try and right the wrongs of last year. So that will be the aim. We know how difficult it's going to be, but that will be the aim of when we go into these FA Cup games.
Kind of what are your thoughts on Burnley? Obviously, again, it's always competitive at the top of the third tier. I haven't kind of dug into it, but I'm guessing, they've got a lot of experience in the team, high-level experience. I'm guessing that kind of paths have crossed with a few of their players in the past.
For sure. I think, obviously Claudia was at Birmingham. Mal's just left, and we as I went into Birmingham, she left for Man City. So there's been quite a few. Jana used to be Daniels, but Matthews. They're high-level players that have gone in at Burnley and will increase the level and quality of their players. But there's quite a few. There's quite a few crossovers. But what I'd say to you, Stan, in their league, I know Wolves, I think, are a couple of points ahead of them in their league, but they are they're a real threat. Most games you watch on them, they're with the ball. They're mostly aggressive. They're probably the dominant team in every game. Hopefully it's slightly different for them this weekend, so we've got to see how that looks for them. But yeah, I don't expect them to sit back. It's an FA Cup. It's they might be tight for a little moment, but then they're going to try and attack us and try and win the game. So hopefully we can take advantage of that.
And just one final one, if you don't mind. Just off the back of that, do you feel like kind of coming up against Tier 3 opposition is kind of getting more difficult? I know you've played Newcastle, West Brom, I think, in recent seasons, and obviously you've won those games, but it feels like the investment's going in even more now. Does it feel like it's not kind of a given anymore, and that you're really going to have to perform over 90 minutes?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not a given. I think for us as well, I wouldn't let our team act like it's a given. That's not in our nature. It's not who we are. But yeah, it's getting tighter, Dan. I've been in women's game for 20 odd years now, and I've seen this is the tightest I've ever seen it. I turn round and there's another news report about somebody signing somebody else, and so and that floods all the way through the tiers. So I'm glad that it's getting better and it's getting tighter, and I look forward to what that makes for women's football in the next 10 years. But right now, what I'm going to do, we have to treat Burnley like they're a WSL 1 team and give absolutely everything on Sunday in front of our fans at home, to try and come away with that victory and get us into the next round.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Mark. Appreciate it. Best of luck for the weekend. Thank
You have a great day, my friend.
Thanks, Dan. Connor, please.
Morning, Mark.
Morning, Connor. How you doing?
Yes, not too bad. Sun's out, which is
Is it?
Which is nice out there.
Wow. Well, you know what that's like. That's a rarity, right?
It doesn't change the temperature though, which is a bit unfortunate. With it being an FA Cup fixture, a player who made kind of a big impact in the competition last year was Mara Griffiths, obviously coming on, scoring twice on a senior debut. Back in December, I think it was, you mentioned that potentially going out on loan this month. I'm just wondering if there's been any movement on that. Do we expect to see her this weekend, and just where she's at, really?
I mean, Connor, you'll know this very well. Our club is renowned for youth development, and we love that, and it's part of our DNA. I think for me, it's slightly different. I think we judge the men's teams and the women's team the same. The level right now is getting better in the youth development section, and ours is probably one of the best. I love what our group do. We have every day. Even today we'll have 3 or 4 training up with us. Layla Drury's coming up as well. She'll be up training with us. So what I want to stress is that actually it's really difficult to jump straight into a senior team. So we have to get the right moves to them. I would love a move for Married in this window to be able to get her the consistency of time. There's key attributes or key kind of decisions that have to be made in youth development. It's consistency of time, and I think on the field, and that exposure to that. So that's what's going to happen. We're looking for all the players that are in those positions to be able to go to the right team and get the minutes that they need in order to help them come back to Manchester United and be effective. So we are looking at that. It's something that Matt and Matt, so both Matts, are looking at and have been for a while with the agents to try and get the right move for those players.
Brilliant. And just on the FA Cup itself, really, in terms of what it means for yourself, but also for a club like Manchester United to potentially win another trophy, just where it kind of sits for you, I guess the importance of it, having already won it, and as you've already mentioned, made it to 3 finals with United.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, highest priority. It's up there with all. We play the League Cup semi-final, and as well that'll obviously be high up because it's a semi-final. But the FA Cup has something special about it. When my fondest memories in football are our fans celebrating at Wembley, and they will live for me forever because it'll be the first trophy. So, from our perspective, we're going to give absolutely everything to try and get us back there, and as I say, right the wrongs of last year, and try and win the trophy. But you know what it's like. You can get a draw at any point. The difficulty of that draw, but we won't take Burnley lightly, and we're going to give absolutely everything going into Sunday's game.
Brilliant, thank you. Just very quickly on the squad, is there any new injuries from the Arsenal game or anything to update from that point of view?
So obviously Jade's out for a 1-match ban. So this will mean she misses this game. Only Frido has a little niggle, so she'll miss this game. Then there's still Tooney, Gabby and Leah. And then that's it. Everybody else is fit and ready to be selected.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Connor. Simon, please.
Hi, Mark.
Good morning, Si. Hope you're okay, mate.
You mentioned about Jade there. I was just looking on your website and it said that she was available. So
yeah, no, I'm sure she's not available for this one game. So it's come through as a 1-game ban, so she won't be available going into this game.
I'm just wondering whether you, after last week, have had to speak to Simi, because obviously it's not an easy situation. Managers have to deal with circumstances as they change. But if you're a player and that happens to you, that can be a bit dispiriting, I would have thought. Yeah,
look, I've seen the noise around this week, and let me try and explain it as clearly as possible. I put Simi into the game when we had 11 players. Simi was brought into the 10 position to be aggressive with the ball side because I didn't feel that we were as aggressive as I needed us to be with the ball. We take the change, so obviously what happens, we lose that, we go down to 10 players. Simi's absolute qualities are she has lots of them, but what I think we needed in that moment, in a defensive 32 minutes it ended up being side, we needed that defensive kind of understanding. We'd put Ziggy to right back, but which she has done before for us, but we needed a full-back in that area. The reason we needed a full-back is because Arsenal are predominantly wide area invaders. We then put our natural full-back in. We put Ziggy back in because Ziggy is a more controlling defensive midfielder, unfortunately. And I mean, it does with a heavy heart, and I've said this, and I said it to Simi at the time, I said it to the Simi in the huddle, and I met Simi afterwards. And Simi's been absolutely fine with me this week. She understood it. It wasn't nice. It wasn't something I wanted to do. But it was the right thing for the team, Simon. I must stress that. My job is to always look after individuals, but also make sure that the team functions in the way that we needed it in the moment. And we were probably justified because we had that defensive solidity. And that's all it was, really. It was just a positional necessity rather than it be anything personal against Simi. And Simi will obviously get her minutes.
I mean, is that something you think of in the moment that you think, well,
absolutely,
I need to do this, but
absolutely,
this is going to have a consequence?
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you know anything about me, I am definitely an overthinker. So, in that moment, I'm like, it's her. So there were three options. It could have been, obviously, I could have kept Ziggy at right back and not done anything. But where Simi's experience comes from, she's become very much, she zones in on a one-to-one defensive, but actually you need to be zonal when you're a player down. So that was all it was. It was just the experience and knowledge that Ziggy had in that moment over Simi. If Si, and let me be very clear, if it was the other way around where I needed to be more attacking, then it would have been Simi. Simi would have been on the field because that was the role and change I made. And that's what I've explained to Simi. It wasn't a situation I wanted to be put in as a manager, but you have to deal with it. So what I'd say to you is all you can do in that moment is make a decision and then act human and explain your decision because it affects another human. And I felt that I've done that, and I felt that it should be put to bed now because Simi's absolutely fine, understood and understands the situation.
Fair enough. Just in terms of Leah and Hannah, you kind of introduced them into the game last week.
Yeah.
They're still acclimatising, I would have thought. Are they ready to start yet? What's the situation with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole reason they came in, Leah hasn't played a 90 since November. So it's just, she trained for a week. She's just getting used to the team. So it's just about introducing her slowly. Hannah was exactly, we had the same conversation. So like how I speak to the players is I ask them if they're ready. And they both agreed that they're probably not ready to start right now. But, you know, coming into the weekend, you know, it's probably likely that Hannah will start. We're still assessing the front options. So I think they'll be ready within the next few weeks for sure.
Thank you. And just finally on Ella Toon, you said last week months, which can be small or
yeah,
long.
yeah.
Is there more clarity over what that looks like? Because months could be end of the season or something.
Oh yeah, no, she'll be back before the end of the season. So no, it's probably about 6 to 10 weeks, depending on how it was from the point of it. So you're probably looking around 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. So yeah, she'll be back before the end of the season, and ready to go. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to welcoming her back.
So she'll miss the European games.
Potentially, she could. There's a potential she could be back going into those windows, but it's one of those. It moves every day. It gets better every day. So we'll obviously wait and see that. But it's what's best for Ella as well as she's coming back from it. We can't rush her back and go into. But I will say that she'll be ready for football before the end of the season for sure.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Si.
Thanks, Simon. Anything from Catherine?
Hiya.
Hi, Catherine.
I was just going to touch on Rachel Williams.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I just thought if you had any particular thoughts on that would be.
Yeah, honestly, I think Rachel's one of those unique footballers that one for me will ever be a fantastic part of my memories of football. I think she's iconic for our club. I think she, you know, I remember getting a lot of grief when we brought her in, you know, bringing her I think she was 34 at the time, a 34-year-old, and then the important goals and the important parts she's played. And she's almost carved at that point a historical kind of position for herself, which is this, you know, the Ole Gunnar super sub kind of situation. But she'll forever leave with my gratitude and the thanks, and she'll forever be a Red, Rachel. I can't speak highly of her enough, and I will forever be, as I say, she'll forever be a fantastic part of my memories in football, both at Birmingham and at Manchester United. And I know our fans hold her in a high regard and wish her the very best for the rest of her career. My job, Catherine, is to try and keep moving this team forwards. We want to be successful. We're chasing an aggressive window, aggressive market, and you know I have to keep doing that. So it was with a heavy heart that we allow Rach, but it was the right move in the moment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Brilliant, thanks everyone. Just a reminder, that's all embargoed until 9:30. Now, we have a second section this morning, as I'm sure many of you have already read. We will have a new sign-in this afternoon, or it's this morning, sorry, at 11 o'clock. So if you did want to ask a question while we've got you on for Marc about Ellen Wangheim, then you are more than welcome, but it will be embargoed until 12 o'clock, please. So does anyone want to ask a question to Marc about that?
Ellen, sorry, Mark. You just said there that an aggressive window, and this will be the 16th of January, and you've already made quite a statement. First of all, what is Ellen going to bring? Yeah. But also, what more is there to come?
Yeah, look, Ellen will bring, let's start with that side. Ellen will bring, so we played against Ellen in the qualifiers against Hammarby, and she gave our back line, we could never rest. If you know anything about how I like setting up our teams, and I feel like the Manchester United spirit of how we should play is with aggression. It's with aggression with the ball, without the ball. It's about attacking with speed and invasion, and I think she brings that in abundance. I think she has this. She's a really lovely, quiet character off the field, but when she comes on the field side, she gets alive, and she's aggressive, and she wants to take people on, and she wants to run behind. And I felt that we'd lost that a little bit, so I wanted to introduce that back into my team to give us a different skill set of when we just need to run a team, we can run them. And so she's 21. She's got so much experience already. I think she had 3,000 minutes or something in 2025. But she still sits in that category that we can add lots of quality to her football too. So she's one of those rare finds, and someone I'm really looking forward to working with. And I think she'll bring fantastic things to our team. So that's why we signed her. Look, for us right now, we've done great in the window so far. If we can add anywhere, that would be great. We'll still explore that. But if the window is to shut tomorrow, we've done fantastic work.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Simon. Connor?
Yeah, just obviously on Ellen then, in terms of where you see her best position kind of is. There's obviously a bit of talk of whether she's a striker, whether she's playing off the right wing. Obviously, you've got a couple of strikers in already, and Leah Schuller and obviously Terry as well. Do you kind of see her best position down the middle or off the right? Where do you kind of see that playing out?
I mean, Connor, you've seen us play for a while. Like, we look to invade from. So, for example, if we're on the left-hand side, we'd want that right forward to be a centre forward, with our fullbacks coming high. So, I see her right now. Probably predominantly more on the right-hand side, but she can be a 9 for us at any point. She can join from the wide right, wide left, and come in and invert. So I see her, honestly, Connor, I see her adding quality and different skill sets to each of those three front positions. And I haven't ruled out yet, obviously, going 2 forwards, Connor, with those forwards that we have now. At times, going with the 2 forwards and working from there. So it just gives us more options to be more flexible. What I didn't like, we were becoming too predictable. I wanted to become more unpredictable, because that's always where our strength is lying as lay. So that's what I'm going to be doing with Ellen, and that's where we see her starting. I think, Connor, she will evolve and adapt and cement her position as we go throughout the next year.